on
So
a
you
regulation
allowed
field.
your kid to go through failure before 14, 13 years old? You want a lawnmower dog?
I thought we were talking about buzzwords. I feel like that's what we're using right now.
The good programs, there's a lot of accountability. I could put the lift up on the board and not say a word, and it's going to get done perfect.
Our game's based on percentages, and you want to play the higher percentages, right? It's an average.
This is day one of practice, and after this day, don't come to me about opportunity and playing time, because every single day you step on the field is an opportunity, like you just said, to prove that you should be in the lineup, to prove that you should be on the mound.
People have this misconception that like hitting should be easy. Like they watch people hit and they're like, if it
It's
feels
easier than pitching.
no, but if they feel easier, that's good.
Welcome back to Live at the Show. We're excited today to have Coach Jeff Gregory from Wingate University. Also joining the show is Zach Rumillard. Welcome. Colin Thacker. And joining us shortly will be Jarrett Thompson, our new strength and conditioning coordinator at Showcase Baseball Academy here in Charlotte. We're excited to talk about hitting, development versus winning, as well as high school baseball recruiting. So, Coach, welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely. You guys are having a good season at Wingate, coming off a good series against LMU. We were talking about you're scoring some runs these days.
We are. We're definitely finding ways to put runs across the plate, which is a good thing. And we've done well on the mound, but like we've taken on a couple injuries, and so like you've got some young guys that are out there they're learning in the middle of it, so to speak. And so the fact that we're covering a little bit with some runs is a good thing right now.
We've as Zach was saying, we've kind of done a podcast this podcast. We talked about it a lot, off the set here. Development versus winning in college baseball, high school recruits. I definitely want you to listen up to this. Like, let's be honest, has college baseball shifted from development to winning? Is it a shared agreement in those? Like, where are you at right now in college baseball?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I do think there's more of an emphasis now on winning, like as a major priority, but there's also a lot more money that's involved with college athletics nowadays. And so I think that's part of the equation. When you have that, there's the expectation that winning's got to be a part of it, right? I do think the development piece is still part of there. It's just how you can fit it in and how you want to run your program and what it's going to look like to you in each individual program.
I'm a big fan of everybody deserves one chance. I got one chance to play in the big leagues, good, bad, or indifferent. I got one chance. Zach called up 2 or 3 times, 4 times to the big league, shipped back down to AAA. You got multiple chances. Everybody deserves one chance, and to be prepared and an opportunity never come versus the opportunity comes in to not be prepared. That's kind of how I think of development.
Right.
I think of development as like that seed sown in the ground before the opportunity comes for that flower to flourish, right? And if your flower doesn't flourish when the opportunity comes, then I don't think you can really expect another chance.
Right.
You're only given one.
Well, I mean, there's no guarantees in this. And it's kind of, okay, baseball is what we know best, right? But how is it different than any other job that's out there, anything else that life expects? Like, it's all got to be earned, and nothing's given to you. I think we all know that. I think we've all been through part of that, and learning that is challenging and it's hard. It's trying to get everybody to understand, you have to develop the right habits to earn the opportunity first. And then when you do earn the opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. I think it's harder when you're trying to earn your way in the lineup to understand that line is much smaller. Because when you go out there and you do get your opportunity, the expectation is you have to take advantage of your opportunity. If you don't take advantage of your opportunity, then you're not ready for the opportunity. And so how many more chances are you going to have to continue to get? Well, then that's when it goes back into what you're doing every single day and everything else. But when you're cracking the lineup, trying to crack the big leagues, the expectation is you've got to be able to go up and perform. Because if you don't, that's where the winning comes into play. The expectation is, okay, well, if you're not doing the things that's going to help us be successful, then there's somebody else that can do it. But that's where it gets into competition. So it starts going down this whole chain of things of what sport is. I mean, it's competition at its finest.
Right. So I always take the approach, Zach, anything we do, whether it's a kid in high school with his grades and with the parent relationship with your parent, on the field playing baseball, like we want to have 100% integrity in everything we do, right? If you want to win all the time, not just on the field but off the field, then that breeds what we want as coaches, right? So would you think that I'm off in saying compete to win and let everything else will take care of itself? If I'm competing to win in the moment present right now, then everything will take care of itself off the field. Do you agree with that, Zach?
I do. I think we can walk a fine line of kind of being in between your generation and this new generation of players, to where like we got some dirt on our uniforms still, but like we kind of get the newer approach to where it gets a little bit more analytical, or complex. And I think that yes, but like I think that it's hard to accept the buzzwords at face value. I think sometimes like compete to win and everything takes care of itself. It's like, okay, like what goes into that formula for you when you say that? Like when you say compete to win, what does that mean to me? And I think that's where it produces a driver more so than like my coach said that thing again, and it's really annoying because he's old.
I think competing to win is, if I'm not in the game at the time, how can I help the team win? Versus I see kids today, high school and younger, or even in college, if they're not in the game, they're not engaged. And there's still a way, or if I am in the game and I just flew out to center field and I'm mad about my at-bat and we make the third out on offense and it takes me 97 seconds to get on the field because I don't know where my glove is.
Yeah, but that's
like you're not engaged.
That's because the game is rewarding the player that produces like analytics on the field. So when you're not on the field, it's like, are they taking my pick my teammate up metrics? Like probably not. So it's like it's less incentivized, and good for coaches that celebrate the importance of like relationship and dugout and energy and winning in when you're not in there. But it's not naturally incentivized in today's game, which makes kids kind of like, it's like, hey, if I'm not out there, it's like, it's doing nothing for me kind of thing. So, and I'm not agreeing with it. I'm saying that's just kind of.
So would you say this is the measuring the heart deal that we can't put data to, Coach?
I think it's part of it.
Right.
Okay, so for me, the way I define it and kind of what the conversation you're talking about, we are in a results-driven world. Like, it is what we're all judged on. But if you concentrate solely on the results, you get a roller coaster of play, and you get a roller coaster of emotion. Because now, in our game, where it's built on failure, like a good hitter, say at the college level, a really good hitter is going to be successful 35% of the time. So 65% of the time, you're getting out. And you can absolutely barrel up a ball, do everything you possibly can. And if you're judging it solely on the fact that ball gets caught, and now I'm out, how are you viewing yourself when you did everything right? But now you're viewing yourself, and so that's where you start getting into that, where it's compete to win. So for me, I flip it around. I want our guys to focus more on the process and the actions that help create the results. And if you focus on those more often, then the results that will be there, and you have to trust that part. Or when you're not getting the results that you're looking for, you have a foundation to be able to go back to. But hopefully, that keeps them focused and keeps everybody engaged. The hard part of that is that we all want instantaneous results. And it's hard to understand that process part. So when people start throwing out trigger words like process, how are you defining it? And like, how quickly do you want it? Everybody's path is a little bit different. Everybody's path takes a little bit longer. But I feel like it's all pressurized now. I feel like we all want the microwave version of it. Because the reality is there's a couple that get that, but they're the anomalies. They're not the usual. But everybody wants that. And like, that's just not in our game.
They want what they're producing, but they don't want to do it the same way. And it's like, it's the hard thing of like, hey, this is how it is. And it can be a little bit equational, yet in order to get that, like in order to produce that, like the approach has to separate from it. So it's like, and I know that's kind of high level, but like in terms of like like I'm trying to create a generation of players, or we're trying to create a generation of players where it means something when you hear a buzzword, or like instead of using the buzzwords, like you get buy-in and belief through what matters, because the same things matter. The same things that every 50-year coach or new coach say, like those are still the things that matters, because those are the things that produce stats. But it's like, it's harder to get kids to believe that's true now more than ever.
So with this results-driven world, results-driven sports mentality that we have, at what point does development turn into just you're competing for survival? Because you're just chasing a number. Right?
Well, you're probably, yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Right.
Now, I have two different perspectives on this now.
Okay.
Because I have a 14-year-old son. Mm-hmm. And that's changed my perspective, because beforehand, like, I knew what it was like coming through it, growing up playing. I was a late bloomer. Like, let's just call it that. I had to outwork everybody to be able to create opportunities, because maybe I was talented enough, maybe I wasn't, maybe I didn't start early enough, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I felt like I had to outwork everybody. But then being in the position I'm in for as long as I've been in it, and having a chance to see, okay, now that you're past the youth part of it and you're into the collegiate aspect of it, to see how some guys have handled it, how they handled the transition and everything else. My thought for my son was if he wants to play this game for as long as he wants to play this game, I want to give him the opportunity to be able to play this game as long as he wants to be able to play this game. Mm-hmm. So for him, and this was challenging for him, it didn't mean success on a youth field and a small field. Because there's some kids that are going to be physically stronger, physically bigger, earlier than others. But we all know people develop differently. Like when you started hitting your peak was probably different than a lot of other guys. Yours was probably different than others. Like, I think we all could probably share that story and say, like, we peaked differently, and or when it happened for us was a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And it was challenging because you can get away with a lot of things on a small field that's not going to translate to a regulation field. Pet peeve, by the way, is when people call it a big field. It's a regulation field. It's the field. It's what we play on, right? Because like now we're talking about like
everything before that doesn't even count until you get on the field.
Yeah, and the regulation field is the equalizer. Mm-hmm. So if you're not building the right fundamentals, you're not building the right concepts early, it separates it out when you start getting on the field, and it leads like this is results, because if they're used to results early. Now, when they get on a regulation field, they're not getting the same results. Mm-hmm. And that's when you see people not playing the game. And they like decide they don't want to do anymore because now it's not easy. Well, this game's not easy.
Right.
I mean, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But if you able to develop the pieces where they can see things going on, then it can translate when they get there. Mm-hmm. I think, for my son, I feel like, he failed early at it, but he learned how to deal with failure. And then, like, since he's been on a regulation field, he's been able to adapt to it and play, okay? I don't know if he's going to play college baseball. I don't know if he's going to play I don't know. But, like, at least he's going to have a chance to play and play it well on a regulation field. So you
allowed your kid to go through failure before 14, 13 years old? You weren't a lawnmower dog?
I thought we were talking about buzzwords. I feel like that's what we're using right now. I mean, like, I started teaching him how I would teach my guys.
Yeah.
And so, like, trying to develop it. And I wouldn't let him use one of those, like, I'd call it a hot bat, like a trampoline. Mm-hmm. Like, he had to use a USA bat. He had to use a smaller bat. I wanted him to be able to develop some bat speed. I wanted him to learn how to hit, because, like, at some point in time, you're going to have to learn how to barrel up a baseball. At our level, you're going to have to be able to barrel up a baseball. And if you can't do it against 92, 94 with a really good breaking ball in a field pitching, like, you're getting on the field is going to be very difficult for you.
Right. We had a conversation about being a good mover. How do you move? Whether it's as a pitcher, a hitter in the field. We've JT, Jarrett Thompson's now here at Showcase Baseball Academy, and we've put an emphasis on development and how you move and players going through an assessment. And that's become a big part of development, mm-hmm. right? And so JT's taking kids through assessments, getting in the weight room early doesn't mean you're benching and you're squatting with the bar on your back. Like, getting in the weight room early is a thing now. It wasn't a thing when you and I were coming through.
No, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about the weight room early. Mm-hmm. now I think there's more data out there, and this is the analytic part that I love. There's more information out there that we can make better decisions about how we're developing kids, players across the board from an earlier. And we understand that, like, yeah, you can work out and you can lift earlier, but this is how you need to do it. Like, you need to build functional strength. Like, you need to understand how to move in space. You need to learn how to stabilize yourself. And if you start understanding that earlier, then you're going to be better at this game earlier.
So, fact, one of the best hitters I ever coached, led the nation in doubles, D1, hit big time hitter, and Jared. But you guys played together at Gardner Webb.
Yep.
How have you seen development coming through high school and at Gardner Webb? 10 years ago? How have you seen it change from then to now? And how are we preparing hitters, players in general, in the weight room now compared to when you came through?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, there's a huge difference. You go into it your first year, and you got a lot of guys that's freshman year, you enter the weight room. They may have not been in the weight room in high school. If it was probably their high school football coach telling them, we're going to squat, clean, deadlift, and roll from there. You get into it, and you load up a bar, and you have no competency of any squat pattern, hinge pattern, whatever it may be. Working in the college setting the last 7 or so years, you see a huge difference in it now. Freshmen come in understanding what the weight room looks like, what movements look like, and they have, let's say process again, but they have an understanding of the process of what a weight session should look like. Maybe not, the pace of it necessarily, that seems to get them early on, but they have a general understanding how to move their body with load on it now. And I think that is the biggest difference. I remember my first year at Gardner Webb, we hit a 5-rep max on a front squat. We had a great strength coach then, but that was tough as a freshman who really, I had some background in the weight room, but to go in there and really have to load it up week 1, man, it crushed me. Like, humbled me in a good way. It's like, I better lock in and get ready to go.
Right.
But also probably wasn't what I needed that first week. And I think there is a happy median in between. I don't think it's being super slow with young freshmen, but I also don't think you're at this game where we've got to force them to load it up and that win now, get ready, we have to perform this season. That was a tricky balance I even had the last couple years programming for our teams at Belmont was, all right, I'm going to pour everything into this kid for a year or 2 years. I know he needs to put on some size. I know he needs to move a little bit better. I know he needs to get stronger. But I'm going to do my best I can do this year for him. But he might leave. And last year, most of them did leave that we really saw a lot of development in. But that's the tricky part of it now is you get to that stage is how do we navigate these year-to-year contracts in a sense with guys in how do we put team development and player development into the same category now?
That's a good topic right there, team
Yeah.
versus individual. Because I think
It's
most
tricky.
players are looking for individual development over team development.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's tricky. And I, as a young coach, had a tough time with it.
Yeah.
In my setting, it's different because we're all pretty much doing this similar things in there. We're loading them up. We're going through the team lift together. They have their percentages. So in a way, it is individualized based on percentages. But our outcome and our goal of the programming is how can we make our team the most resilient baseball program in the NBC or the country and put a product on the field that can last. So there's a very tricky balance to that.
Right.
And all these guys have social media now, and they see all these things, these specific things that they want to do because it's the magic red pill, and they think it's going to help them. It might not, but at the same time, I've got to do what's best for this program instead of the athlete at the same time.
So, fact, like you were born to hit a baseball, like you knew how to barrel baseball probably out of the womb. And did you ever find the weight room or the development change in your body in college hinder that at all? Like there's a time and place to gain, and there's a time and place to maintain. And there's did you ever see that?
No, not really. I think we were blessed at Gardner Webb with really good strength coaches my 4 years.
For sure.
Shout out Coach Whaley, Coach Fred. They managed our load really well. They knew whenever it was time to get after it. They knew when guys were banged up or, it needed kind of a lighter week because we were scrimmaging 2 or 3 times or had a heavy week game. So as far as the weight room side of it, no, I think that was one of the better things we probably did in my 4 years at Garner-Webb was the weight room side.
Yeah, so your exit velocity, and I'll turn this over to Gregory in the college. Right now, your exit velocity, let's call it 95. In 2013, leaving high school. And if you're in today's game, just crazy, 13, 14 years later, and instead of being the good hitter you are, with the timing you have, with an exit velocity of 95, you're chasing 96, you're chasing 98, you're chasing 105, and you see yourself, or a coach sees you as becoming a worse hitter because you're chasing a number, versus the game of, I barrel the baseball really well, I lead the nation in doubles, but I'm still looking for that next thing. Is that hindering players today?
I think you can get caught up in the wrong thing.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And I think the buzzword for me is self-awareness. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where I think it's really important that all players understand what their ability is and what they can do. And if you start chasing the wrong thing, that's going to hinder you and it puts you down the wrong path. Because if it's the hot topic and like, oh, this is what I want, everybody's a little bit differently. But I think we've all played it long enough to know we're all built differently. Mm-hmm. We all have different skill sets. And I think from a coaching standpoint, and whoever, like, as you progress this game, what can you do that adds value to the team that you're on? And I think we're all a little bit different with how we can do it. And so I think there's value for that. I don't think everybody wants the exact same thing. So if you're chasing, like, you think this is the one thing that's going to get you because that's the one thing that's publicized and get you to that next level, get you to that next spot, but it's hindering you and you can't put the bat on the ball consistently,
right?
Everybody's going to look at it and go, man, you can hit it a long ways. But 1 out of 20, I don't think we're going to run.
Softballs in your career.
I don't think we're going to run that risk for consistency.
Right.
Right?
So I'm going to turn this over to the table. What's something most hitters are working on that doesn't actually translate to games?
I'll let y'all go first.
What is one thing hitters are working on
that does not translate to games? Is it exit velocity? Is it, trying to pull the ball all the time because they want to leave the yard, which that's not really something you're going to work on. But what are they working on that doesn't translate to games?
I think that one of the biggest, I don't know if I can answer that directly, but I can give you, like, where we don't see, we base our swing, like this generation more and more, like you hit and you don't work on any sort of timing change. It's like everything you do is based on like timing up one speed, expecting one speed, and having zero reaction portion. So you're training like conviction in a one-speed fastball in a window on an underhand flip, or a machine that you like. I've already taken 15 reps, and I know exactly. I could close my eyes and know exactly like the general time frame after I hear foop, or like the coach puts it in. Like, so you're beginning to shut down certain parts of, like, honestly the biggest parts of the game. So like for me, it's this A+ swing practice on one pitch speed in a very safe, controlled environment, and I just don't think you see enough of that being complemented with how does this hold up when it's a little bit more fire tested in the cage.
Lack of adjustability.
Yeah, because like you do 3 times a week, and if I just give, like I said, that's back to buzzwords, like lack of adjustability, stick to your approach. Like that's when like you do lose guys in that sense. So it's like explaining like, yeah, like if you begin to break it down a little bit, like you shouldn't feel what it's like to adjust to a breaking ball 3 times a week in a game. Mm-hmm. You should probably practice it a little bit more.
No, I've had hitters when I've been throwing BP to ask me to throw it here or throw it there. I'm like, yeah, were you going to tell the pitcher where to throw it?
Yeah. So for me, that's when you start talking about application. Mm-hmm. It's in the college level, I equate it to like the classroom. So like to get buy-in, to get people like, hey, to figure out what we're talking about right here, that I always love it when the guys come in and like, hey, I know you had a test. How'd you do on your test? None of the stuff that was on the study guide was on the test. Okay. Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't. Like, here's a study guide.
You don't understand anything.
And it's like, well, none of the stuff that's on the study guide was on the test. I said it all was. But what the professor wants you to do is they want you to apply the information. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, if we're in a cage setting, we can work on some mechanics. We can work on some fundamentals, because you have to have fundamentals. But then you have to figure out how to apply it. So, like, people use the term approach. To me, approach is a hard, fast idea. Each at bat is going to be a specific approach at that specific time. It's like we can talk about a hitting idea. We can talk about hitting philosophy, which is kind of like a general plan, general idea. But if you walk up to the plate where there's a runner at second base with nobody out, like, he's got to get to third base. So what becomes your approach? How are you going to do it? Now, it's even harder, like when you got a guy that's like 95, 96 with a wipeout breaking ball and he's trying to pound you in. So how are you going to work on what are you going to have to hit? You may have to be able to hit a slider, a really good one, because that may be your only chance, because you're not going to be able to take fastball in that hard and hit back up the middle, because then it's an out. Well, you don't want to give up outs. So, like, now you're talking about applying it at a really difficult level, and if you don't ever work timing or understanding, like, that you don't have to have a perfect swing because your swing's going to adjust. Like, how many times you flipped on the TV and watched highlights from a game and watch a guy take an off-balance swing, but he's able to manipulate his bat and keep it, or manipulate his body and keep the barrel in zone long enough to be able to hit. Like, how often are you perfectly on time when you hit?
Manipulate the bat. That's one of our core philosophies here. I was like, if you're the worst,
important.
if you're the worst mover in the world, but you manipulate the bat well and consistently, you're giving yourself a chance to hit. But I don't want to get off on a sidetrack. But, like, the point being, like, yeah, like, that is, like, those are the things that do show up on the stat sheet eventually, but they, like, don't look pretty and aren't super fun. But, like, the reality is, like, if you tear it up this season and you have a really good year, like, you might spend 2 weeks snap hooking some balls into the corner, and you're like pulling the outside pitch, and, like, you working with the car you drive, like, understanding yourself better, like, learning your identity as a hitter, what you do well. It's like this ever-changing process of, like, in order to get that, like, work that, like, put yourself in environments that kind of produce those outcomes in a more controlled way that allow you to become, like, to learn yourself better. Because I do think at the end of the day, no matter what we're doing here, it's like it all derives from, like, identity. Like, if you know your strengths and you know what you do well, you have a chance to be good if you really, like, step into those things. But when you're chasing everyone else, it's like it's a lost cause.
To go on to that, and it goes back to my earlier, you have to learn how to fail. If you're doing easy stuff in a cage every single day, that when the light switch goes on out in the game, the umpire says play ball, and all of a sudden first heater comes out and it jumps on you, what's your first reaction? I mean, I think that's where, as people progress, the harder it becomes in practices, the better off they're going to be. Because I've seen it where guys in the big league level, like big league names, you'll see them go out there, and there's videos of it now, and that's the good thing about social media, what's out there, and you'll see them working, and they may be on a machine, it's 100-mile-an-hour heaters, and they're swinging and missing. But I would rather swing and miss there and see 100-mile-an-hour heaters, and then when you get into the game's going to be easier. Because that's really where you want your results. Do you want your results in BP, or do you want your results in game?
That was going to be one of my questions and topics is, and I never took a swing off a machine on the field my whole playing career. Like, if I took a swing off a machine, it was,
They had machines when you played?
They didn't have machines then.
I thought you were a pitcher.
Any pitch. Yeah. They didn't even have
This goes back to the whole
electricity.
equation. Every pitcher thinks he can hit.
I wasn't a PO until I got to pro ball.
Oh, okay.
And so I never took a swing off a machine unless I was in a cage. Now you see machines on the field all in college all the way to the big leagues. Versus you don't get timing of the live arm. Is that a thing? Because I have high school kids coming to me, well, coach, at this showcase, they weren't throwing BP, they had a machine, and I couldn't hit it. Well,
machines are better, one, from when you and I played. Because,
Yes, they
we
are.
had, the two wheels. They were straight over top of each other. It hit everything. You couldn't see the ball going in, and it just popped out. And it was like, and then you get started equating to, that short, flat arm action that comes out. And it's like ride. We had no idea what ride was back then and everything else. And it was like, man, that ball's moving up. Yeah. We just kept swinging underneath it, whatever. And it was challenging. But machines are better, and they can simulate things better. Because, technology, that's a good thing. I think you still have to create some sort of variance of timing with it. So how you put the ball in the machine. You have to give a hitter some sort of action so you can utilize it the right way. But if you're just taking it in and just flipping it in real fast, it's going to be challenging no matter what. But now you can simulate velocity better, and that's part of our game nowadays. It's just part of the equation. You can simulate breaking balls better. It's more realistic, and you can see all that kind of stuff.
Right. All right. So what skills? We'll switch over to transferring to higher levels. High school kids transferring to college transferring to the pro level. What skills are you looking for in a player? Because you can show up to a ballpark, you already know the kid is there that you're watching, you like him, or else you wouldn't be there.
Right.
So what translates from high school to college? What are you looking for outside of the swing?
For me, it's a lot.
Okay.
How do you carry yourself? How you interact with teammates, because I think that's important. What's your effort level? How you handle failure, probably more importantly than anything, right? When it's how you do little things. Because if you are focused on all the details, not just the big one, not just hey, I hit the 3-run bomb and now I want to interact with everybody. How do you do the little stuff that's going to add up? Because we all know, if you flip on a big league game, I love watching it because those guys are professionals. The guys that we've had come out of our program that were with big league guys, you always ask them a question what did you learn from him? It's man, I didn't know. Even if he had a 4-for-4 day or an 0-for-4 day, he prepared the same way every single day. He went about his business the same way every single day. You couldn't tell if he had success or didn't have success. He just was super professional about it. He did all of this stuff, and that was his focus more so than anything. And so for me, that's what I'm looking for, because now they're going to get away from home. So now this is where you're becoming independent, right? So are you going to do all those things? Do I have to go in? Do I have to coach that? Or can I find somebody with the same skill set that I'm not going to have to coach that part? I may have to intervene and remind them and keep them focused on task. But I want to see that they're going to do all those kind of things, because if they're doing all that, well then I want that guy on my team.
Right. What gets exposed the fastest? From moving from high school to college, what gets exposed the fastest in the game?
In the game,
just the game in general. Is it the speed of practice? Is it the speed of the weight room?
I think it's I think there's a demand portion of responsibility in college that takes a leap, a good step up. But every time you move up a level, even in pro ball, the pace of play changes, the internal clock, the speed, the adjustment to wow, it looks like everyone's moving slower at this level, but everything's happening faster. You watch the big leagues and you think everyone's moving in slow motion. It's it's the fastest game in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it was always really apparent that guy's the breaking ball got better, the fastball made different noises, so on and so forth.
What was your biggest adjustability or need for adjustability when moving to college from high school?
No, I think it's like he said. It was the speed of the game. It was the longer practices, the weight room, the longer days. Time. I guess time management was big. Making sure obviously classroom stuff was good, and all, as well as taking care of the baseball side.
I would think the desire to be, going back to not being able to measure the heart, the desire to be there is going to get exposed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I think if you have any kind of weakness somewhere, it's going to get exposed. Because I sum all that up, what everybody's talking about. It's the volume. The volume changes. Because now 1 through 9 in the lineup can all hit. There's not 1, 2, or 3 guys in a high school lineup, and then you have some guys that are good high school hitters, good high school players, and things like that, but aren't going to translate to the college level, right? And so where you potentially could take a pitch off, and that happens if you have that mentality, then that's going to get exposed because you're going to get up to the level, then you're not going to be ready for it. Or if you got a pitching staff where you have 1 or 2 guys you're catching, where you like, okay, I know their stuff inside out. Now you've got 12, 15 that you've got to really know. And or now you get on your own. Professors expects me to do all this in a class. Oh, by the way, you have 4 more classes like that. And so now time management goes, like the volume just goes. And so like, I guess the desire to be great at it, like you're going to have that. Like you're going to have the want to be successful. You're going to have to want to be really good at everything you're going to be doing. And in the process of doing that, you have to understand that you may fail. And you have to be able to not let it beat you down. And you have to continue to move it forward because you know when you come out of it that you're going to be better off because of it.
So the compete to win. Let's go back to it.
So now we're going to go back to
Okay,
this.
so we're going to go back to it. All right. I did not care. This is me personally. I'm much nicer in my late 40s than I was in my high school years. And much not. I've leveled off. Let's call it like that. I didn't care about friends when I was on the baseball field when I played in high school and ultimately in professional baseball. I didn't care about friends. I wanted to win. I wanted to win all the time. That's just who I was. I want to win now, but I understand my position in influencing amateur athletes. But I want to win, and you want to win, and everybody at this table wants to win, and we want people who want to win around us.
Right.
So when that lack of desire to want to win, it becomes exposed or noticed, that's
Do you need people that want to win, though?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't think you do.
You don't.
I don't want somebody to walk up and go, I want to win.
But those guys are more difficult to coach a lot of times.
But no, because like the phrase "I want to win" and somebody's got to tell you "I want to win," like that's
the will to prepare to win.
That's a buzzword.
Right. Okay.
Everybody wants to win.
Okay. But do they want to prepare to win?
They want to be great at it. They want to work at it.
Even in ground balls at shortstop, you got 5 guys at shortstop. How many shortstops do you have on your roster? Coming from high school to now?
All of them.
All exactly. Okay. So you put 5 of them, 6 of them, 7 of them at shortstop in practice in September. The desire to want to win against those 6 guys right then.
The ones that want to take on the work right then and there, it will show up and it will surface from the very beginning. And you can see it from how they react when they make a mistake, because now you're throwing them into a different environment. You're throwing them into a more competitive environment. Like you've upped the game, so to speak. And so when you throw them in that environment, like how do they respond to it? Like if we've all been at college athletics, we've seen it. And so like you can see the ones who are like real fast. This is going to be the challenge for them. And if they can recognize that's their challenge, it's like I can take as many swings as I want to, I can do X, Y, Z as many, but like if you can't accept the challenge, it's going to get exposed really, really fast.
You miss a ball at shortstop and you go to the back of the line.
And everybody else is like, doesn't miss. Like,
or you don't take another one. Like, stay there.
If you run from
get
it.
to the back of the line. Please. Like, please don't take 3 reps. But like on your point, like it's like I think there's 2 kinds of like work or industriousness, and it's like there's kids that work because they know it's important, and there's kids that correlate hard work. Like hard work is a byproduct of their desire to be great, and those are different things. Because I watch kids work hard because they think it's going to, like someone's going to owe them something for their hard work. And if they build up the bank of like, I'm working hard, therefore I deserve something, like it's not going to translate competitively.
Agreed.
Versus kids that are in here and they're like, man, I don't know, should I go home, should I not? And they end up in the cage because they want to get better, because they're on a mission to go somewhere. Like those are different things that have the appearance of another. Like some kids work hard and they expect like, coach, I'm working harder than everyone on the team. Like, okay, great. Like,
but you still have to get results.
Yeah, and yes, and like anyone can pick up on the character piece of like why you're working hard. Like, are you afraid, or are you working hard because you have a desire to like achieve potential?
Like, for me, because I wasn't that great player out there, I hated failure. I couldn't stand it. Like it just something. Like I wanted to be really good at it. I wasn't the best player on the team. I wanted to win too. But if like my place in the college team at that particular point in time was to push the guy in front of me, because like that's the guy that needed to be on the field, and if I needed to hold him accountable, that's what I was going to do. But that was the environment that we grew up in, that I grew up in, or where it was. But like in that process, I use that word a lot. Like I love working at it because I wanted to be really good at it. Like I wasn't worried about like, was somebody going to owe me something?
Or was someone going to see you do it? Like, who cares?
I just love doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I love the game. That's the part I got involved in. Maybe that's why I ended up coaching. I don't know.
But that's like what produces that. It's like we talk about it all the time. It's like someone that shows up first every day and leaves last. Like there's a quality there that we can steer and produce like efficiency and results from, but it's not a means to an end itself. Like you showing up first and leaving last doesn't mean you're going to get promoted. It doesn't mean you're going to be good at your job. Like it just means like you're there the longest. What are you doing with your time? Like maybe you should be sleeping more and being more effective when you are here. It's like there's a balance of like some people use it as a safety net and like I said, like I'm owed something, I do this and this produces this. It's like it's not that straightforward. You have to workshop when you run into a wall. Like you have to workshop around, through, above, underneath that wall. It's not like trying isn't always like everyone's trying. Everyone's trying. You know what I mean? You have to be effective in figuring out and problem solving a way through that wall.
Application.
One more time.
Back to application.
apply?
Yeah, application.
Back now you're applying what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right, so building a winning program. What separates programs that win consistently versus those that don't in today's climate?
Culture.
Yeah, and that's a buzzword.
Yeah.
It is a buzzword, but it's
It's true.
facts.
It's
But you could have a player who hinders your culture that hits 400 with 20 pumps and drives in 60.
Mm-hmm.
Are you playing him when he hinders your culture?
I think your culture's got to be strong enough that if you have a guy like that, that your team's going to know that they can handle,
It's chess right there.
then your culture's good enough and that guy can be in your lineup. But if you have a lot of individual, the only thing they're worried about is that particular point in time, then I don't think your culture's going to be strong enough.
Right.
And so, like, I think you can't do this in a utopian idea. Like, everything's going to be perfect across the board. Everybody's got to learn how this is the standard, this is the expectation. You have to be willing to hold them to standards. It's hard to treat everybody exactly the same because everybody's a little bit different. But if you're upholding the standards of where your program is and what you expect, then your culture is going to be strong enough, and that person is still going to fit inside your culture.
So, does your best player need to be your best teammate?
I think in an ideal world, if your best player is your best teammate, then yeah, I think that's exactly what we're all looking for. Is it always the case like that? No. But then everybody needs to understand like how to operate inside of that and to be able to like, okay, we need this guy on the field. He's going to help us from that standpoint. But then what does everybody else bring into the table?
Right.
And everybody's personality is going to be a little bit different.
Right.
You know, but as long as they're putting the work in, the idea of like being really good is going to be there. Here's the standards, here's your expectations. Then as long as we're living up to those standards and expectations,
Right.
that's the important thing.
Right. So, how much of winning is culture versus talent, in your opinion?
It's a combination of both at our level. It has to be. Like if you don't have the talent, you don't have the players, like you're not going to be successful as you continue to move up in levels. But you can have a bunch of talent, and if you don't hold it accountable and you don't put a standard to it and put an expectation to it, then you're going to have a lot of really talented pieces that are just moving a bunch of different directions. And then so like you're I don't know how your team could be successful. It may not be.
Right.
Just depends.
So, JT's your strength and conditioning coordinator. Thak is your hitting coach. How do they factor into what you guys do at Wingate, your development program? Your assistant coaches are important. Right?
Huge.
I know they are.
Huge.
How do they factor in like going through an assessment, seeing how they move, how much individual development comes out of that versus your team time and practice? Because you only get so much during the week.
Right. Well, all the guys on the team are around them. And so the first part of it is important. They are echoing your expectation. They are echoing your standards. Because when they're in the weight room with the strength guy, he needs to be on the same page. Like, we're fortunate the guys that we've had over there have been phenomenal about that part. They're upholding the same standards, the same expectations. So no matter where you go, you're going to be on time, you're going to be punctual, like you're going to get in. And when you show up, this is how you're going to go about doing it. And it's the same thing when they're around assistant coaches. They're going to continue to do the same thing. And so they're vital to it, right? They're vital to the development. Those are the guys that they're on. And then sometimes in our situation, like, I'm the disciplinarian. Like, I'm the one that holds all that stuff accountable, but the players have got to have people to be able to go to. They got to have people they can talk to. Like, everybody can't be the same way. Again, it goes back into we're all not going to be the same, right? But as long as we're carrying out the same expectation, the same standard across the board, I mean, they're huge.
Yeah.
They are important because they're going to be around them all at some point in time.
Yes. In my field, we're labeled support system. And that's exactly what we have to be to that program, to that head coach, is we've got to support their mission and their values and uplift and hold those standards to a certain level. If not, then you just have different buckets and silos that either one loses it and the other gains it, but it all has to be one unit working together for a program to really excel. And I've seen it. I've worked with really good programs. I've worked with programs that are inconsistent, don't have success. The good programs, there's a lot of accountability. I could put the lift up on the board and not say a word, and it's going to get done perfect. Other ones, I have to be on guard. There might be reps skipped, or it's just going to be, let's go through the motions and just get through this thing today.
Right.
And you see it. That's where you see the difference in programs. Is everyone says it's player led, but no, they will actually call you out if they see a teammate just slacking off a little bit today, whether it's missing a rep or just not giving it their all. And there's different times a year where, you got I have to do a good job as a support system to support the head coach of, I know we need a pullback. We just had a 3-4 game series on a Monday, but our goal is I'm not wasting their time when they come in. We're still going to get our work in. It's just going to be different work today. But the main thing is always the main thing. We work with intentionality and discipline and get our stuff done in appropriate fashion. And we're not wasting your time when you come in here today.
Right. So, Thak, you've been the best hitter on the team. You've probably been down the line.
You're getting fluffy. Yeah.
Thak is swinging, man. But seriously, like from high school, you go from the 3-hitter to Gardner Webb. You're probably not hitting third your freshman year. Plus, you're incorporating the weight room. And we talked about it earlier. Like, where do you fit in? Where's your game right now, and how does it help the team win? Right. So how does that change as a player? As a freshman, you might be hitting 9th, and as a junior, you might be hitting 5th, and as a senior, like, your role changes from your high school team to your showcase team, and it may change to being a freshman at Wingate University. Like, how do we manage selfishness and who I am as an individual versus fitting into that team game to help the team win?
I think it goes back to what kind of player you are. Are you a guy that's just gonna, like we see nowadays, even at the college level, at the prep level, like, you're not in the lineup? Are you looking for the next team? Or are you going to go to work every day and put your head down, do what you got to do to try and find a way? Like, I remember my freshman year at Gardner Webb, I got hurt in the fall, so I didn't have a full fall. Came in, I was the 3rd, maybe 4th catcher on the team, and, like, really no signs of playing. I was in the bullpen most games. My first college at bat, I was catching a bullpen down the left field line at Elon, and they yelled at me. I had to go full gear. Somebody handed me a helmet straight up to the plate, punched out on 4 pitches. And I think it just not that good. Not that good.
I can't believe they didn't give you time to prepare.
I know, but that's how it
You
is.
should have already been prepared. That's the whole point.
And that was a big.
So your mom called the coach.
She called the coach.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we were talking about leaving on the spot and going to Elon. No. But I think it's just that was a big moment of, like, you've always got to find a way to stay prepared as best you can. And, the few swings we got pregame, I tried to make sure they were the best swings I could take, so I was as prepared as I possibly could be. Ended up playing a little bit more towards the end of my freshman year. But I think it's just it's how you go about the process. It's being able to take the punches, and what kind of player you are really shows up whenever things aren't going well or you're not playing, and you go from being the best hitter on the team to you're buried on the depth chart. Like, are you just going to kind of cash it in for the season, decide whether or not you're going to stay, go, or you're going to keep showing up every day and, do whatever it takes to try and get on the field?
Yeah, I had a conversation with a parent the other day about that, whose kid's a sophomore in college and, saw more playing time as a freshman than they are now as a sophomore. And that was the question, well, should he transfer? And I was like, no. He's going to be a big factor. He's struggling a little bit this year. That's why he's not in the lineup, because he's not producing. So, for me, you got a really tough job as a head coach now in this landscape, because you got the portal, you got the ability to transfer. How do you manage that? You don't want a whole roster of portal players, right? You want to, because that's going to hinder your culture. How do you manage that right now?
I think it's how everybody wants to run their program. For me, I think it's solidified, like, this is how I want to do it. This is what we're going to continue to do. I've always built the program off high school guys, brought them in and developed them. Okay. And then from a transfer standpoint, if we had an immediate need, and you're looking at like the construction of your roster, if there's an immediate need and it's still the right fit for the program, then we're going to bring transfers in. If somebody wants to build their roster completely off transfers, then that's how they want to do it, fine. Like, there's obviously a lot of ways to do what we do. There's a lot of ways to hit. There's a lot of ways to throw. There's a lot of ways to swing a golf club. Everybody's a little bit different with how they do it, and that's fine. This is how we choose that we want to do it. And that's what we've seen, and that's what we've done. And we feel like that's where my heart lies with it, because I love the development piece. I love watching what I call the light bulb moment for guys, like where you're working on something and they're working, and all of a sudden you can see it click, and to see where it goes from there, it's fine. If we run the risk of having a guy or two leave because of like the nature of where it is nowadays, it's one or two. I'm not trying to bring in a roster every single year, right? I still think it points back to directions of the way it's always been at some point in time. Like, it's just out there more often, because now there's more avenues where people can see it more often. So, I don't think it's any different from how we've always operated, right? But some people may be able to do it a little bit differently. But there's always been people that have run programs where they've worked more off transfers, and that's fine. So I just think now it's just more exposed because of like all the different social media outlets and media and everything else. People can see that more often.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that when we were offset. You've had a player transfer from D2 at Wingate to a D1, and now he's in pro ball. And those shoes aren't easy to fill. But and hopefully these new bills that are passed limit the transfer portal a little bit, because 40 to 50% of kids that are going into the portal aren't coming out, and those stories you're not hearing about.
Right, and that's still damaging on them, right? I mean, we're working in a model right now, and I've listened to other people talk about it. Like, it's a free agency type model with no regulation on it. Like, where is that going to be healthy for anybody? Because what people talk about are the success rates, the ones that are the high profile ones. Like, this worked out for this one, and he got this, right? And then it doesn't always work out for everybody the same way. And I think that's the challenge, and I think that's what people have got to understand. And like, you have to be able to evaluate what your situation is, but that's where it's important, where you can deal with some failure, you can deal with some different pieces of it, you can deal with the challenges that you have and things like that. And there's so many different factors, I think, that go into when people make decisions about transferring. And that's important. Like, you just have to understand all that.
Right. One thing a hitter has to do, in your opinion, what's a foundational thing, going back to hitting, what's foundational that every hitter has to have?
You've got to be able to understand the concepts of timing. Like, you have to.
Right.
Like, you have to just know that, like, there is not one perfect swing, and you're not going to put a perfect swing on a baseball every single time. You may fill out front this time, you may get a little bit beat, but can you understand the principles of the fact that you're not going to be perfectly on time every single time, and is your swing good enough to be able to counteract and deal with that, and or can you be able to adjust in your swing at the same time?
Do you find that difficult to teach even at your level, or do they already have it? Like, teaching a kid, like, adjustability and timing's different depending on facing a lefty or righty, a 5'6" guy who has a fast delivery, a 6'6" guy who's got a slow delivery. Like, timing's not always the same.
Well, I mean,
you got to watch the game to understand it.
Yeah, but you got to put them in an environment where they're having to deal with that. Like, if you don't put them in that environment, well, then I'm part of the problem. Right? Yeah. So, like, if I don't change, and the only thing that we do is just we do the same thing, we just do flips, then it's just as much my fault.
Good point, yeah.
Right? So how can I, as a coach, get better, develop? Like, we're always learning things. There's always new stuff that's out there. But I got to filter through it, like, what's going to be best for what I think is really good for our guys. I mean, but if you sit there and just do flips over and over again, and it's the same pace every single time, you can adapt a pace of it so they can start feeling even just doing flips where you can change the pace of it to feel like how like something's going to happen and just understand like, hey, I felt this. That's okay. You know, can you put like a different ball inside the machine where it kicks out a little bit differently so you get a different look? Can you turn up the velocity so they're having to hit it a little bit firmer? Can you turn down the velocity? Can you change the brake? Like, you have to put them in an environment to help them with that. Like, we just can't all put it all on them. That's part of being a coach.
Yeah, I feel like the more you pull back, the more you like hand control and you do flips and tee, like the intent needs to be there. Like, you're pulling out an external variable so you can maybe get in your body a little bit more to focus on a move, but it's just like the body will always organize to hit a baseball. That's why making mechanical adjustments, the best way to do it is probably without a bat in the mirror. Like, you can create habits by moving without the bat, I think, a lot quicker than when the bat's in your hand, because you will always organize to what you've practiced in order to hit the ball as much as possible. So like when you add those small variables, it's like you start to move toward more uncontrolled, but it's still pretty slow. So it's like being able to feel your body at a certain tempo, do a new move that you're trying to create better direction. It's like there needs to be intent in flips. You're like decision making, probably not coming up as much in underhand flips, and if it is, like, you probably need a new staff member to flip to you. But like, yeah, as you get to machine, it's like the intention shifts. It's like now, like, more timing comes into play, like more competitiveness, more closer to the game. But it's like, if we're not, do you have something? Oh. But if you're not adjusting to, or if you're not like exhausted, I this is like kind of a roundabout way to get to it, but like my like players, or the players I've worked with or whatever, like if like people have this misconception that like hitting should be easy. Like they watch people hit and they're like, if it's
easier than pitching.
No, but if they feel easier, that's good. If they feel like it's easier, I've been losing this train of thought all day and I'm about to lose it again, so I'm just trying to stay on it.
I can see why.
But if you like, if you're under the impression that hitting should be easy and you have a successful day but it wasn't easy enough, like you're missing the point. Like a good hitter that has a really good season should be exhausted from the amount of like mental focus that went into each pitch, each rep, scouting reports, like execution, adjustments. Like you should be exhausted after a game, after you go 4 for 4. Like it's not just like you rolled out of bed, things happen and you're like, man, that was so much fun. It was like, you should be tired from the amount of focus it took to execute that day. And I think that's the biggest thing with kids these days. Sometimes it's like they think it should get easier, but it's only going to get harder to produce as you continue to evolve.
So shrinking the strike zone, was that a thing when you were coming through, Thack?
Yeah, for sure.
Thack, Rim and I had this conversation the other day. How do you shrink the and Coach Lee at South Carolina was talking about it on social media the other day in an interview. How do you shrink this? How do you? He was talking about shrinking the strike zone and when they had 2 strikes, and that goes against every train of thought like anybody has today, and definitely in the old school baseball. Shrinking the strike zone, because everything I ever heard was expand the strike zone with 2 strikes. Don't let the umpire make the decision. You know, put the ball in play. How do you shrink the strike zone with 2 strikes?
Well, I misinterpreted what you said.
Okay.
So I always shrunk the zone as I got ahead.
Okay.
You know, they always said 2 expanded whenever you got 2 strikes, but I mean, I heard Zach talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
I'm opposite.
Seems like a little, I guess, a mentality switch from what I was taught.
I think it produces it flips from like, if you strike out, what, I don't know, I think a decent percentage of your strikeouts should be looking, because if not, you're chasing out of the zone a lot. Like you're not good enough to know where the edge of the strike zone is, and if you go a full season where you're you're shrinking the strike zone a bit, like how many people can set a strike zone?
High school coaches are going to lose their mind
I'm sorry because
with the
goes
ABS
back-
system, I get it, but you can't do that with the umpires we see today.
Okay, but over the course of a season, like, just go ahead and watch. Like, they're going to strike out more over the course of the season because it's a fear-driven mentality.
Doesn't
You're now
change.
producing
So
a
it's a
fear-driven
mental thing, not a physical thing.
It's a mentality.
Okay.
Like, the idea is, like, do we want you to punch out looking? Is that a gold star? No, but if you take a pitch 2 balls off the edge 15 times, I guarantee you're not going to get run up 15 times.
Well, if you have a quarter, it's two. Both
How many
sides have
times? Yeah,
heads
but
right now,
hold on.
you're losing.
No. Look at 2 balls off the edge.
Okay.
Look at that spray chart. I want you to tell me how many times, like, you're actually, like, if that ball goes in play, like, are you producing anything? And, like, how often that's off, like, called a strike? If you look at the data, it is not beneficial to chase off the plate 2 balls. Now, if it's the state championship and the game's on the line, like, I don't know, do you? Like, sure, but, like, I think your mentality stays the same. I think expanding produces chaos. I think shrinking produces more, like, control.
Okay.
You want me to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I do. 100%.
I think you have to know the zone. If you don't know the zone, then you're going to be in trouble and you can't hit. Okay, now there's different ways of us learning the zone because now we have technology. But, like, to his point, there's a time and a place. There's a foundationally throughout the entire year. Like, our game's based on percentages, and you want to play the higher percentages, right? It's an average. Okay, so do you want to teach somebody younger to, like, swing at 2 balls off? Because now if you do, away from you, can they cover something in?
Well, you have to, because at East Cobb, it's 17 inches off as a strike.
Okay, well, then they...
Especially if you're playing the Astros.
Okay, so then it's about development because as you get older, I don't get involved. I'm thinking strictly from the college
Right,
level,
100%. Yeah, I
professional level. But if they learn the zone earlier, they're going to be better off because as they continue to advance the level, this is what that level is going to dictate because everybody's going to be better. Now, if you get into a state championship and the umpire is, like, consistently calling the ball in the river to the white line, well, then if the game's on the line and this is it, then I'm going to have to as a hitter go, all right, I got to at least burn that pitch. I don't have to hit it, but can I foul it off, burn it so I can get to the next one? Because I can't go down looking in that regard. It's like there's different pieces that you have with it. And we have to understand where we are at that particular point in time. But I think the better that you understand the zone, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
Which goes back to my compete factor. Like, learning how to burn a pitch, foul a pitch off, stay alive in the at-bat, not give the umpire a chance is an art. It's hard.
It is, but taking a borderline, like a pitcher is trying to make balls look like strikes, right? If a guy throws a slider that he knows that it's a tight slider, it's firm, it's late, but you know if he starts it here, it's going to end up off the plate, and it is a quality take. That is just as important to stay in the at-bat as, like, burning it off. Like, you know that's going to be a ball. You have to trust that part of it just as much as anything else.
And it's why you see guys punch out in situations in the big leagues with it. You get a ride guy with a tight slider, and they start a fastball 1-2 in that tunnel. That 60% of the time it's their punch out pitch that starts in that same tunnel. And it's the slider that bails. It's like you watch guys freeze on fastballs at the bottom.
Shouldn't
of the
you
zone.
always be on time to hit a fastball, though?
Yeah, but this, like, I guess for me, it's like it's a misconception that everyone sees spin and grip. Like, you gather data subconsciously, but, like, most people see tunnels better than they do spin. So, like, when a ball starts out in a tunnel, you begin to develop an approach based on, like, the chance that ends up in my hitting zone, right? So it's like, depending on the guy, it's like I'm hunting a zone where I want to look and adjusting away from that. So if I'm pushing a sinker baller middle away and up because I want it to work back into my zone, and if I chase in, maybe I go middle in. But if I go down to that low and in corner, I was swinging over the top. I swung a little bit across my body when I played, so I could not get to the sinker ball down and in, so I had to push him up and out, if that makes sense. But it's like, I couldn't just be like, oh, yep, there it is. Like, I'm not going to swing at that one, but I'm going to swing at this one. It's like, you're going to expand your zone. Just
Over
look at chase rates
162
in every
games,
league.
you can do that. Can you do that at 58 games?
Yeah, to some degree, yes. Like, you have to be solid in what your approach is, and you have to be solid in what you're going on. Because hitting is hard. And if you're swinging at everything, it's going to be hard. And if you're facing a really good arm, like, you have to realize that he's going to get some results against you, but you're going to get some results against him.
Also, pinch hit. Like, if you know a guy and he's consistently giving you at bats, and it's me, and the game's on the line, and this guy's burying his sinker down and in, like, go warm someone up. Like, you know my approach, you know what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna give you a competitive at bat, but it's like, I think the idea is creating like consistency for the coach to make decisions versus like if it's a big giant coin flip, like you don't know what you're gonna get. Like if he's just like sometimes chasing, sometimes expanding, sometimes like he doesn't have a clue what he's doing up there, like then what? I just think if you can stick to a plan, even in the best situations, it's going to give you the best chance for success, even in that one situation.
Got it. So switching back to recruiting. And you're trying to figure out what that hitter's approach is, or what the pitcher's, how he's attacking hitters, right? You're trying to figure that out while you're watching him, right? What's the most overrated part of recruiting currently? Social media?
I mean, everything's got a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the speed of which it works.
Okay.
Like I think if you're just
It's not just about going 3-4 today. You want to see consistency over time.
Well,
I
I think it's like depends on the perspective you're looking at it from. You're looking at it from a coaching standpoint. You're looking at it from a player standpoint.
From your standpoint, what's the most overrated part of recruiting?
I mean,
I think it's that kids or parents or people in general say, "Oh, Coach Gregory's here today. I hit a ball in the gap for a double. He's going to like me."
Yeah.
And you need to come back the next night.
There's so much more to it,
right? 100%.
And we're all guilty of it. Like we're all guilty. Like I remember when I was playing in high school, like my teammate was a 3rd-round pick, and like I guess I learned early on what that was going to look like. You know what I mean? And I paid attention to him, and I'm like, I can't do what he does. But there's still the thought process in your mind, like if a coach came in. Man, I had 3 hits tonight, and I'm like, well, he's probably gonna like same thought process.
Refresh your inbox; it's not coming.
And then, but then it was a phone call, or a high school coach was like, hey, he called about you. You can't like that's expectations because like there's things that coaches understand, they know because they've seen it every single time. It doesn't matter like from a professional level on down. Like when you see what like this is what translates to here. You're looking for tools, you're looking for skill sets. It's not just always results. Now, that's part of the equation, right? But there's so much more that goes into it. So, like, if you just walk in and think, okay, well, I had 3 or 4 hits, now all of a sudden, like, I'm a prospect, it's not always that case. Because I'm going to walk in, if I walk into a ballpark, I may know who the matchup's going to be. I know if he's seen like another potential college arm, another potential pro guy, how does he handle that guy? How can he do that? Because like that's important because he's going to see 3 or 4 of those guys on a regular basis. And you have to be able to handle that. And so I think it's just because I do this, I'm going to get this. So it goes back to expectations, right? And I can't remember exactly how we were phrasing it earlier. Well, I'm going to be owed this because I did this. Right. And it's not always the case.
Right.
Yeah, I think also, like, on that note, like, how many people do you go in there, like, and you're like, oh, this kid is going to, like, we need this kid's skill. It's like, it's most of the time, is it not, like, you see something in them that potentially, like, fits and you're drawn to? Because, like, you're not even probably taking the best player on the field like all the time.
It's going to be a fit for what does well for us. So for me, I like athletes. I like athletic movers. Y'all have already brought it. Like, can you move your body in space? Because that's going to translate. Can you figure out how to properly rotate? And like that's a big thing because like we get into a whole different conversation with that. But can you do the things and or have the potential to do those things at a high level? If I can refine it a little bit, I feel like that person can be able to do that. So when I walk into a ballpark, I'm not going in looking just specifically for a first baseman. I'm not going in specifically looking for this model, this guy. I'm probably going to look more up the field and look up the middle of the field. And then, okay, like it may be, he may lack a little bit of this, but I'm getting the best athlete. And then I can move them around, and that's going to be a better fit for our program, in my opinion.
Yeah, we talked about the Padres had 7 shortstops on the field last year, and you said it earlier. I mean, everybody played shortstop or the right side of the field. You know, that's on the roster now. I mean, at some point, development is a funny thing because everybody wants it now, and I've said it before. That's why Burger King, McDonald's. I don't want to single McDonald's out. Burger King, and McDonald's, and Wendy's. They're open because everybody wants it now. So the ability to play the long game, having that marathon mentality. You're doing it with your son now. I mentioned to you before, like he's gotten bigger recently.
Yeah, he's grown. I mean, he's 14, so like time has passed by, and all of a sudden, like I just looking at a picture of him the other day, and I told my wife, like, he looks older now. Like
Right.
it's the first time to have that realization, like, hey, like.
He can't kick your butt yet, right?
Nah, no, we're not gonna let him do that. I'm his father. We talk about it all the time. Like, I'm always gonna be your father.
Right.
I gotta be able to set that somehow.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't win, at some point, college coaches, if they don't win in this, they're going to lose their job. Right. So, what's one thing that immediately stands out about a winning player when you're recruiting them?
I think I've already kind of mentioned it a little bit. I think it's just how they carry themselves.
I don't care. So, yeah.
Like they can handle failure. I think that's a big thing. Can you handle success and can you handle failure? Because you have to be able to handle both, right? Because you have to know in our game, like you're going to have ups and downs. And so like if you can handle both, then you're going to be consistent enough from a mental standpoint to be able to have like consistent success, in my opinion. Like if you lose your mind when you fail, right? That's not going to be good. Because then if you just know that's going to be part of it, right? And likewise, if you just have success and you think that's just the only thing like you're going to have, because at some point in time, like you're going to get with us and you're going to fail too. It's just part of the equation. As you're figuring out the level as you grow into it. Like how many guys do you take, you know, from the college level to go on the professional level in their first year in the pro ball? Like there's some failure pieces that because you have to see it, you have to adapt, you have to learn what it is first, right? And so I think how you carry yourself and how you go about everything, single thing that you do, like those attention to details I was talking about earlier, and then like how you handle those pieces of it shows it. Like, do you respect the game? Do you respect what's happening? Right? And I think that's important, but I'm a little bit of a throwback because that's just kind of the generation I came through.
Thack, one thing that immediately stands out when you see a winning player.
I think it's a lot like Coach said. It's how they carry themselves. Like I like to see first guy on the field, first guy off the field. How quick do they make that third out, get to the dugout, and get their stuff if they don't get picked up? Are they still talking to their teammates about what they saw that at bat, how he pitched them? Just little stuff like that. I guess staying engaged in the game and you know, I tell my guys like people shouldn't walk up and know that we're up 10 or we're down 10 or you're 0 for 3 or 3 for 3. The game you got to stay even keel. You got to play the game one way.
Right.
I think it's always intriguing. Like if you can, say it's like a big matchup when you walk into it. Like you know you're facing a good arm. Say if you're a hitter and you're facing a good arm, and say that arm gets you the first at bat. So like watch a guy just kind of calmly take off his batting gloves, place his stuff down, place it there. You're like, okay. There's a little bit air of confidence in what he's doing, and like you can probably see kind of like that. And then you may watch him in the dugout, and he's just kind of watching what he's doing. So he's taking in information. Like that's kind of an advanced feel. And the next time he gets up, and the pitcher tries to do the same thing against him, and it's like, pow, ball gets flattened out to a gap somewhere or gets torqued, and like goes about it, and like still in the same way, the way he just kind of looks at it and goes, like those are what really, really good players do, in my opinion. Like they don't let the situation get too big for them or what's happening, and it's like you kind of can notice those kind of things. Like they just don't get overwhelmed by it. They don't get caught up into it. They don't like if somebody gets overly excited and you know they were the punch out in the big situation, right? Like, cause we're all going to have those moments. Like Michael Jordan failed at the end of a game, right? So, and then like he just calmly does his thing, you know, or a pitcher the same way. That like you know he's got good stuff, and a guy ambushes a fastball and hits it out of the ballpark. How does he handle that? And if he doesn't let it bother him, boom, it's right back in the zone. You're like, okay. Now, like, those are things that you kind of pay attention to.
I'm glad you brought that up to talk about the athlete on the field, the guy who stands in the middle on the bump that's 10 inches high, the pitcher, the athlete, the most important part of the game. When Schoolball gave up that leadoff home run to Great Britain's hitter in the WBC, he was right. I think he went 3 pitches, punch out to the next guy. Like, that's how, when you evaluate pitchers, the ability to throw a strike when immediately after some adversity happens. You talked about earlier, you guys are having to score some runs right now. As pitchers, 100 miles an hour, ball 4 is still ball 4.
It is.
Right, so when you evaluate a pitcher, the ability to throw strikes, stuff and strikes, you can have that argument all day long. Same thing as hitting linear versus rotational, it's both. So stuff versus strikes when you're evaluating a pitcher.
You got to have both, because for me, what I'm looking for is that you got to have stuff because you got to be able to speed up the decision-making process of a hitter. Like, you have to be able to do that, right? But then you also have to command it. But if you can do both, then you can make your stuff play up. So even if it doesn't have the top-end velocity to start with, if you can command it, now that's a whole different conversation. I'm not talking about just throw strikes. If you can command your stuff, put it where you want to, and mix and get to like different areas of the plate, then you're also speeding up the decision-making process of the hitter. Because if he has to be aware of 3 or 4, then that's going to be challenging too. But you have to be able to get in the zone because we all know, like if you look at the numbers, if a hit like 0-0 counts, 1-0 counts, 2-0 counts, 3-0 counts, like what are averages there versus like 0-1 counts, 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts. Like, you have to be able to do that, and you have to be able to command the baseball because the name of the game is like you have to throw the ball over the plate. Now, you just can't like lob it in there, right? And just like, well, I did exactly what you told me to, but that gets back into the competitive part of it, right? Can you compete with the stuff that you have? So it's not all about velocity when I walk into a ballpark and look at it and I'm recruiting it. Do I think what I see right now, like, can you be successful as a freshman? Yes. And then 2, like, what do you look like 2 years down the road? If you get into what we do, how we develop, and everything else, what's going to be your progression, and then what it's going to turn into? Like, I use examples all the time. Like Brody McCullough, when he came to us, he was 84, 87. But you're talking about competitiveness, like, you couldn't put a grade on it. And it's not going to go on a 20 to 80 scale because mechanically, this, and this. Breaking ball was good. He threw from different arm slots, but did not back down from anybody. Guy was a tremendous worker. By the time he left, it's 92 to 95. Right now, you get into some other things but he would pound the zone. Like, there's all different examples of that. Like the guys that we've had that have been successful didn't always come in what they left as, didn't come in that way, but they were like had some pieces that we were looking for, how the arm moved, how the body moves, what their stuff looked like, and then you just knew as they got a little bit stronger, got a little bit older, they could develop into it, and then it could turn into it.
Yeah, I've had conversations with college coaches over the last 3 years, kind of as this whole portal thing has matured. And one of their first questions to me is, can he play for me right now? And I'm like, no, he's a sophomore in high school, or he's a junior in high school. He can't play for you right now. But as I said earlier, Thack is one of my best hitters ever. He couldn't play for Gardner-Webb as a junior either.
Right.
So how much does projectability and that eye test for coaches still matter?
It does matter, but I will tell you this, and I learned this from a scout. Too much projection gets you fired.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yes, it does.
But when that question comes out, like, you want to add guys to your roster that can play for you. But if you're in a situation, like immediately, but they don't have to get forced into it because they know that there's that learning curve. So if you have a freshman come in, yes, tools-wise, skills-wise, he could play for me right now. But if I'm in a situation where we have to force it, some of the that adjustment of getting into that level as a freshman, like just having to see the big picture, it's different because it's the volume, right? Everything in the volume. But then the ones that can handle it, then they can progress to it and they're on the field, right? So when people ask that question, can he play for me right now? Like, they want to know, like, can he physically, tools-wise, everything else, can he get on the field for me? Because if he can, then that's the type of player that you're looking to bring in. Now, there's all those different other factors that go into it, right? But then it's not like you're not projecting out too much.
Yeah. Is it easier for a pitcher or a hitter to get on the field as a freshman?
It's got to be a pitcher, right? There's more opportunities and innings. Like, even like, I do feel like, I thought about that the other day in pro ball more so. Obviously,
the
you'll have a
roster's
great answer.
pitchers. I mean,
but like,
you make the most
Coastal
money.
Carolina right now, like, they're down 3 arms and there's 10 guys and everyone's pitching top to bottom. Guys they wouldn't even expect to use because, like, there are innings to eat up and there's a lot of different innings to pitch in. Like, there's days where you gotta, like, we were in a regional and we had a guy who really didn't pitch much all year have to eat a game for us to get our dudes back to win the next game because, like, we didn't have the depth that everyone else had. So, like, there's a role for everyone in the bullpen, more so than I think position player wise.
Yeah, you can put 9 guys out there in your lineup, and sometimes at bats may get a little bit limited because, like, if you get the team where it's got a feel where it's going, but like a pitcher can only throw so much. Like, you can't run him out there every game. right? So there's going to be, just by that thought process, there's more opportunity for somebody to get on the mound earlier, potentially. That doesn't mean that, like, it can't be equal. So it's kind of a loaded question when you ask that. It just kind of depends. It depends really kind of on the player personally.
Right.
If it is equal, you got a pretty good position player base. I'm saying to be able to interchange a good bit and like to workshop like different players. Like
I think there's a scare, a timidness for kids to pitch these days as amateurs or in high school or middle school because they don't want to get pigeonholed to being a PO.
Yeah, but I think you get
if
more.
you can hit, you can always hit. But I think there is some mentality for coaches out there that if they can have 4, 5, 6 pitchers, even at the high school level, and I want them ready to be able to pitch for me, and so there is a little bit of lack of ability to put them in the lineup.
Yeah, but
It's way different than when I was playing.
Like when it first started, you were like opportunities. We talked about like chances, getting chances. It's like if you're a pitcher, if every time you stand on the bullpen now, it's an opportunity. Like if you jump 3 miles an hour and your stuff's nastier on TrackMan, like you're gonna find yourself getting an inning, or like just being available. Pitching's gonna give you more chances. Like if you go to a huge school, you might never get an at bat, but like if you're there before you get cut, like if you're not cut, you're probably getting an inning at some point. You're probably getting bullpens, and if like you show up, like you're gonna move up the depth chart without even being on the field.
Right.
And that happens way less in hitting. It's like, oh, this guy's exit velo off the tee. It's like, who cares? He swings everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like practices. It's the same thing across practices. You're looking at that every day as an opportunity for everybody when they walk into it. Mm-hmm. And if they take advantage of the opportunity, they take advantage of the opportunity. Like the way, at least, I feel like the way we run practice, I'm watching constantly, right? Bullpens, BP, the way you can go about it now, like inter squads through the fall, even through the spring, how somebody continues to prepare. If they stand in on some bullpens and you're like, okay, like how he takes and like, okay, this could be an opportunity for somebody like a pinch hit if we need to, or somebody goes down. Yeah, but typically when you set your lineup, it kind of wants to roll, but you want to be able to keep everybody in rhythm and keep guys paying attention to it. But like, how many guys you're going to go through in a game in your lineup versus how many guys you may run out there on the mound.
Mm-hmm. Coach Pollard, who's now at Virginia, had a speech that got shown on social media, I think 5 or 6 years ago. Is his opening speech. He just gave voice to what all his coaches are thinking and saying is, this is day 1 of practice, and after this day, don't come to me about opportunity and playing time, because every single day you step on the field is an opportunity, like you just said, to prove that you should be in the lineup, to prove that you should be on the mound. And to be prepared for that opportunity, preparing to win is more valuable than desiring to win, right? We talked about that. Mm-hmm. But literally every single day you have an opportunity to show that you're prepared to be in the game.
Right.
Right. I'm sure you have those conversations with players, but every single day is an opportunity to prove yourself.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the equation. But I tell mine, if you don't understand what I'm doing or don't agree with something, my office door is always open. Mm-hmm. There's a time and a place to how you handle things if you want to come in. And I don't have a problem if one of our guys wants to come in and have a conversation like, hey, I think I deserve this opportunity. Okay, why? Okay, well, done X, Y, Z. Okay, I can appreciate it because at least it tells me where you're thinking. So I like that in a player. I like them having the bravado to come in and say that. Mm-hmm. But here's my expectation on the flip side. If you do get your opportunity, like if you've been preparing, you've been doing things, and like, okay, you feel like you get that chance, and if I give you that opportunity or you earn one in the course of a game, what's going to be my expectation when you go out there?
To produce.
You better perform.
Right.
Right? And I think that's part of the equation, because if you walk into a business somewhere and you go, I deserve a raise or I deserve a promotion. Okay, why? Well, I've done this, this, and this. Kind of somewhat, it supports things like that. Well, if you do that, well, then expectations just went up.
Mm-hmm. 100% agree. So if you had to share one message with players, as I'm sure you're sharing with your son at 14 now, to get to the next level, what would it be?
I think the perspective on it for me is you have to be consistent. Like you have to be, because you can have flashes, but if you only have flashes, like how are you going to find yourself in a lineup all the time? Like if you were, like as you were hitting, like if you had a 3-for-4 game. We've had this conversation a number of times. Like you have a 3-for-4 game. But then the next 4 or 5 games that you have, it's like over, and it's not the same thing. Is that going to keep you in the lineup? But if you can have a 2 for 4 day, a 1 for 4 day, your 0 for 4 is still like a lot of hard contact, things like that. I think people can see those kind of things. And so like, you have to have the ability to be consistent. Now, like when I share that, like that's got a lot of meaning to it. It's a very open-ended example because I don't think there's one thing that says you have to do this to get you to there. I think there's a whole lot of parts that go into that.
I agree. What's your take on that, JT?
Yeah, I agree. I think the consistency piece it's encompassing in a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
Obviously, your habits outside of baseball. Are you eating enough? Taking care of your body? Are you starting to act like an adult and eat like an adult? Do you get your butt to sleep and handle your business during the day? Getting your work done, getting your homework done, whatever that might be. And then are you showing up with the same intent and effort each day? You're not a guy that rides the roller coaster of good and bad attitudes, but you're just even keel the whole time.
So when you talk about like eating like an adult, you mean like don't eat chicken nuggets and fries all the time?
Yeah. Like hunt your protein goals, eat your vegetables, and drink water.
It goes back to the whole thing. Like we all talk about like what is, everybody throws out the phrase being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, look, if you want to be successful at anything, there's going to be things that you don't want to do that you're going to have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you just have to. Why? Because it demands it.
Right.
Because there's somebody else out there doing it.
But if you're consistent and you're consistent in your habits and you find your routines, you can make that routine pretty dang comfortable for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a different way to gear it instead of like, oh, I got to do this again. It's like, no, I'm doing this again because I'm comfortable eating the same meals because they're good, going to bed at night because I feel good the next day.
I mean, think about it. And this is, I have this conversation where I think, you get into different topics about travel ball. Right. I remember when I grew up, we didn't have it. We had Legion ball. We just kind of knew our area, and that was it. When I got to college, I started learning that it was a much bigger country. And now that's the one thing about travel ball, it exposes you to all of that. Like, you can see the country. And you have to separate yourself from everybody else in the country if you want to go play at this university. If you want to go play at this program, you have to be able to do that. Because why? You're competing at that particular point in time with the whole country.
To piggyback on what you guys are talking about, I think what I would want kids to understand and know is that coaches talk to other coaches about kids. And I've had D2 coaches pass on a kid who a D1 coach ended up liking and taking. Like the margin between D1, D2, and D3 continues to shrink. You've won a national championship at Wingate, and the game became elevated for you. Like, recruits wanted to come in more than before you'd won the national championship. That's common, right? People want to chase wins. So coaches talk to other coaches. So that goes back to, it's not just about going 2 for 4 and hitting one in the gap one game.
Right.
They're gonna call and get referrals from other coaches. They're gonna talk to high school coaches, travel coaches, other college coaches. Hey, have you seen this kid play? And I think that's what kids need to understand, and parents need to understand. It's not about one game with 10 college coaches behind the dish watching replay. It's about what you did the game before, what you do in the game after, and how you carry yourself next week.
It's a big world, but it's a small world because it's very connected, and people are going to know. Like, it's both sides of it, right? You have to see the importance of it. Like, it's just not I go 3 for 4 and that coach is automatically going to take me. My livelihood is attached to this, right? And that's the hard part for people to understand. And so, like, it is, every decision I make is very important. Like, I do want the right fit. I do take value in every single thing we're doing. And like, I am no different than any other coaches out there. Like, it is important that we don't, we're not trying to make mistakes. We're just not trying to grab. We're just not trying to do this. Like, we all want to know that stuff. Like, that information is important because we all want to know what we're getting. And every program's going to have a different fit.
Right. If you brought in 2 catchers last year, you probably don't need to bring in another catcher this year. Or, you have a center fielder, you're looking for a left-handed arm. Like, there's how you fit into their current roster matters.
Right. Yep.
So it's about the kid showing up consistently and being the same guy for the most part every time he's on the field.
Right.
Because word's going to get out on you.
Yeah.
But also it's how you fit into that team's culture. Like, I had a kid call me. He graduated from our program in 2011 or 12, went to UNCW, and he told me if Coach Scaff, I knew he cussed every other word, I wouldn't have come here. Coach Scaff's retired now, and he was a great coach.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I told everybody when I'm 50, I'm going to say whatever I want, and at 60, I'm going to write a book. But anyway,
I bet you'll be the first one to buy it.
but
right?
he stuck it out all 4 years. He stuck it out all 4 years, but it was a culture shock for him.
Right.
But that goes back to culture is important. If you can't handle, I'm a high energy coach. If I can't stand the mopey face.
Right.
You might hit 400 for me in 10 bombs this summer. I can't stand mopey face.
Right.
I'd rather not have you. That's just the way I am.
Right.
Like, you got to show up with some energy. Being on time is important to me.
Yep.
You know, so if those things are important to you, and that kid's going to be consistently 2-3 minutes late, he may hit 400, but he might not make it at Wingate
That's true.
because it's going to drive you insane.
Yeah. I've told a lot of good players that, no, I just don't think this is a fit. And it just may be some mannerisms. It may be like some pieces that are important to me that aren't the same thing. Well, it's not because I don't think you're a good player. I just don't think it's going to be a good fit. And it's not going to work out for you. It's not going to work out for us. So why do we want to go down that road? And it's not to say anything other than the fact that, like, when we start talking about fit, those are the things. Those are the pieces that we got to understand. It's not just as clear-cut dry as, like, I'm good enough to play at this place and I'm not good enough to play at this place. Like, everybody's got to do their research. Coaches have got to do their research. I think players have got to do their research. You know, because, like, one of the biggest pet peeves for me is, like, when somebody goes, like, hey, I don't think he's a D1 guy, but I think he can play for you. Have you seen us play? No. Well, then how do you know? Right? Because we're all looking for the same thing. Right? We all need the same thing to be successful. It's just how we go about able to bring in what we need and everything else.
Right. What's the reality of baseball today that players and parents don't want to hear? I'll give you guys all a chance. So, a reality of baseball today that parents and players do not want to hear.
That you're just not that good.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
And
I think it's like, it's not fair. It's not fair, and it's never going to be fair. If you're looking for fair, then you're looking in the wrong place. And if you find something that is fair, like, let us know. I'd love to see anything in this world that is fair. And I think that, like just like the decision if your kid goes to a school, like, it's not you don't deserve it. It's because the coach ultimately decided to, like, put you in his program. Like, there's no test that you got scores on, therefore you can come to our college. It's like you're invited by the coach, and if he doesn't like you for no reason at all, then you're not going there. So it's like, it's not fair. Like, you don't know why how they're measuring you. You don't know why they like you. You don't know why they don't. So, like, the best thing you can do is to just, like, continue.
I think it's just stop looking around, comparing yourself to everyone around you,
Yes.
and where they are going, and why am I not going to this school and he is?
Yeah,
And
we both hit 300 in the same
Yeah.
conference, and it's like you guys.
Let's start looking at where your son
it's
currently
not
is
equal.
and go.
It just
from
isn't.
there.
Because, like, everybody's making decisions. Like, what's the worst part about recruiting is when people start comparing them to them. Everybody has a different time frame of when they're going to evolve, and when they're going to, like, hit their ability to be good enough. And if it simply boils down to this, if you're good enough, you will get an opportunity.
Right.
But if you're not good enough, because jobs are attached to it, like, it's going to be very hard to get those opportunities.
Yeah. Where much is given, much is required as well. And that coach or that, you might not be ready for that situation. It doesn't mean you can't go in there one game and fill in, but you might not be ready for that situation to carry the load going forward.
Right.
And so, like we said, baseball's not an easy game. It's not a fair game.
No.
Right? It's a game of repetition. Repetition of the game of baseball is never going to go away. The more reps you take, the better you're going to get.
Right.
And the desire to be on the field. So appreciate you being with us today.
Yeah, I
That was
appreciate having had a
fun.
good time.
Zach, Colin, JT, we're excited to help the amateur athletes today develop. JT implementing the assessment process, our hitting and pitching development that we've launched. Zach, you want to talk about that for a minute? The differences with Rapsodo, we have those on the table today.
Yeah, I do, yeah. But I think, like, obviously, thank you for being here. That's an awesome conversation. You have a really good way of simplifying the complex. I really enjoyed it. Rapsodo, blasts. We have high-speed cameras. We're exporting that for biomechanical data. But like the biggest thing is like, I think with anything, we're taking industry level, like top industry level data, and we're trying to create an organizational structure and a collaboration between departments to allow a mover to move to his full capability and then to continue to progress along that path. Like there's no formula. I think that if you have people who are committed to your and accountable to your progression, and these data points help us like track that progress. Like we can have micro victories instead of like every like a whole off season you're waiting for the season to come around, or you 3 for 3, 4 for 4. It's like sometimes you're getting better before it's showing up. Yep. It's like your kid failing at 12 but like progressing as he gets older. It's like it's not always linear. I've had a lot of athletes like take some steps, what seemed like some steps back at the right time in order to now propel. Hudson Simmons is one of them. Like he was an analytical mind, invited him into the data, and it like we navigated a very difficult like overthinking, but like meeting him where he's at, because that's how he thought the game. It's like entering the process with them. So we share as much as we need to, but like a lot of the data is for us to track if we're doing our job correctly. Like, are we making your bat path better? Or are we making you swing faster and selling exit velo off the tee, but your path is 10 times worse and you can't put a ball in play or can't hit a ball to center field during the game? So it's like redefining what success is, and it's been a really cool start. A lot of people have been interested. We haven't really even fully launched it and we fully launched it but marketed it. So I think we have a really cool thing going to where my personal goal is to be the like highest like player development experience, like in terms of communication, collaboration, and like effectiveness. I want to make kids better, and I want you to hold me to that. So you take an evaluation, like we're accountable to you if you give back on the other end what we demand.
Communication is key, and one thing I meant to bring up earlier with Coach Gregory, people don't care what you know until they know that you care, and that's obvious that your players and your program have succeeded on that foundation. Having the open door, the ability to communicate and build relationship is important.
100%.
And so when they know that you care, then there's buy-in to what you're trying to do as a program.
Right. Like what you just said, we all want the same thing. I want them to be the best that they can be. Mm-hmm. We all have different ways of going about it, but I want the same thing. I tell them all the time, I've already had my rodeo. I've already got to play. I've already done that. Like now I'm in charge of running a program, but I don't forget what it was like when I was a player. I want them to have the same thing. I want them to get better at the game. I want them to learn how to deal with things. I want them to be able to handle whatever they need to, and whatever their next step is after they leave our program, I want them prepared for it, whether it's professionally, whether it's in the work world, whether it's to become like a husband, a father, whatever they decide to do, I want them prepared to be able to do it. And so there was a way that we have going about it, but that's the important thing because you're dealing with people. Like that's the complex thing when you're doing it. Like there is a person holding the bat. There is a person holding the ball. And how can you get them understand how to do what they want to do? We want the same thing. They want the same thing. We want them to be good. We want them to be successful. Some people see it easier than others, and that's the hard part about it sometimes because we have to be able to look at our own selves first. And I think we've all had those moments. I've had those moments as a player, and I've had those moments as a professional, like coaching, so to speak, where I have to look at it if I don't have a successful season. Like the results tell me what's going on. So I'm going to start with me as part of the problem and like how do I address it, how do I fix it, and things like that. How do I become better at what I do? It's the same thing because like you're dealing with people, I want them to be good.
Yeah. The ability to look in the mirror as a coach or a player or just a human in general and to understand what I did well, what I need to work on, the adjustments I need to make in order to, I'm going to say win. I want to be successful in what you're doing, to always take that next step forward or figure out what that next step is. I think it's a life lesson that baseball it teaches.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
And life is hard.
Right. It's not, life does not turn off. Like you can stop, like you can walk away from a baseball field, you can walk out of a facility, you can turn it off, but life does not stop.
Right.
And it's
It
gonna
only
keep-
speeds up.
It just speeds up, keeps coming at you. Like, when our son was born, like, we just remember it felt like it was yesterday. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to go by as fast as you think it will. And I'm like, the first 6 months, I'm like, there's no way. I'm not sleeping. I'm up all the time. Like, this is going by as slow as possible. And next thing you know, you look up. Now we're 14 years old. And so, yeah, I mean, life just keeps getting faster and faster. Lesson
does.
out there for everybody. Like when you're younger, it's like it doesn't go by fast. When you get older, next thing you know, you're like, okay, like this went by at a blink of an eye.
Indeed, it did. Thanks again for being with us. I thought it was great.
Awesome being
I
here.
appreciate you guys listening on Live at the Show. We'll see you again next time.